And if we're talking about reaching, why don't you go and kick it off with your first loser?
The kings of reaching, the New England Patriots. Oh my gosh. Listen, Bill Belichick, I'm looking at these picks. I know you had your hands all over these players because these are all just random players that you just think that you've done so much homework on, all this great homework on. And you're just like, you take him here, you take him now. I don't care what this value is. You take him now because we want this. This is our guy. I'm like, come on. Cole Strange in the first round is an absolute waste of a pick. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to convince me that they could have, that this is somehow going to be a steal. There's no steal in this. You could have taken somebody else to help somewhere else on that team rather than Cole Strange, who would have been available in the third or fourth round when you had 3 fourth-round picks at that. So you're telling me you couldn't wait to take a guy who went to Chattanooga. I don't think anybody's looking at a guy coming out of Chattanooga, in my opinion, with all these other linemen that are on the board. Nobody's worried about the guy in UT Chattanooga going in the first round. I mean, that is an absolute ridiculous pick. At that, Tyquan Thornton. I'm not mad at the pick, but you had so many other needs that were available at 218, and you take Tyquan Thornton, who is really, he's just a blazer. He's not really great at anything else other than the fact that he's just really fast. He doesn't run amazing routes. He's not really quick out of his breaks. He's not really doing a lot of other things that you guys like to have, especially being the Patriots. You guys like possession receivers. He's not the best possession receiver. He's more so a speed guy, and he fits in somebody else's scheme and not in the scheme that you guys like to run. I think the strangest pick of the draft for them is Bailey Zapp. What the hell are you guys doing taking Bailey Zapp when you just drafted Mac Jones? You didn't need another quarterback. You could have went lineman. You could have went linebacker, anything. I mean, so many other areas that you could have filled, and you chose to pick another quarterback. I don't understand. And then you take 2 running backs. Why? You have Ramondre Stevenson. You have James White. You have Damian Harris. It's like, what is the point of taking 2 running backs in this draft when you don't need any at all? You don't need any. You have 3 running backs that are solid, that will be fine. I don't even know if these running backs you guys pick even make the cut for the team. They might get cut or they might go to practice squad. I don't even know they're going to even really be there.
I think Pierre Strong would.
Pierre Strong, it might be be the one. But Kevin Harris, I mean, you draft him. I know he's a 6th-round pick. He's 183, but like, there were so many guys available in the 6th round that's like, come on, take somebody else. I don't know. I didn't like their draft. They reached a lot of just nonsense picks, a lot of Bill Belichick picks where he's just taking guys because he just wants them so bad. It doesn't make any sense.
So to play devil's advocate here, a lot of the people on the other side of defending Bill are like, well, it's Bill Belichick. He always picks these random dudes that you don't know about in terms of the greatness, but he picks them in late rounds. Historically, he's been horrible selecting in the first like first 2 rounds, sometimes the third. He's definitely much better selecting prospects later, and I think it kind of got to his head a little bit too much, because even though Cole Strange could end up being solid for them, I think he actually will end up being really solid for them. The value that you could have had somebody else there and then had Cole Strange later, like, just the value, you're giving up too much value, because he was a 3rd or 4th round prospect by most people's metrics. Even the Sean McVay was laughing at them. I mean, that's not a good sign.
His first instinct was a laugh.
When another team is literally getting in front of other people on live television and laughing at your pick, I don't know if that's a good pick, man. I don't know. You did something wrong. And Tyquan Thornton, I thought was just as bad, if not worse. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Tyquan Thornton. He is fast. You can't teach speed, but at the same time, they're gonna have to teach him a lot. He's got a long way to go.
It's a project player for sure.
Yeah, and people were talking about him being available in the 4th or 5th. Like, it's I don't know. It's definitely like, when 2 people watch tape, they'll take away different things. One person might say, "Oh, this guy's trash." One person might say, "Oh, this guy's great." I don't know who they got watching tape there. But did you see when they made the Cole Strange pick? The guy who handed Bill Belichick the phone, like, his face was just like, "Oh my God." and he gave Bill Belichick the phone, and he took it. And he was like, "Hey, Cole, are you watching the draft?" And I think didn't oh, no, that was somebody else I'll talk about later. But I feel like was Cole Strange even like did
I
he
feel like he
think
wasn't
he was
even
gonna get
watching. He probably wasn't even thinking about going in the first round. I don't even think he had any idea that he was going to get picked in the first round. He probably was just at home eating a
yeah.
meal or something, just waiting because he's like, I'm probably not going to get picked till like Saturday night, maybe some time like that. I'm not worried about it. But
Mm-hmm.
no, instead he ended up getting picked on the day of.
I think the pick that had the most value, or at least the best value, was Marcus Jones. I thought Marcus Jones was a great pick.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought he was even a little bit of a steal. I thought he should have gone a little bit earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but it was right around that range. It was right around that range, anyways. But you're right, Bailey Zappi. What are y'all doing? What are y'all? And the two running backs, like you're right, they have Damian Harris. What are y'all doing?
What
Like
is the point?
unless you are gonna cut like Ramondre and James White, or you're legit looking to move on, why would you acquire two more running backs? It's just strange. Is it for competition? Like practice squad competition? Like why are you drafting for the practice squad in
My
like the
only
fifth round?
guess
Like
is that they're famous for turning players into other positions. Maybe one of these guys they move him into a slot of some sort. Maybe he's their strength is pass catching. I'm not very familiar with Pierre Strong or Kevin Harris, so I'm
Pierre
not
Strong's not
sure.
really a pass catcher. He's more of just he's a really fast like he's kind of he's just a strong fast running back. He's not really like
Okay,
a pass catcher like that.
well, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they have plans with these guys that we don't know about. I'm not sure.
But
I
you know what?
think
You know who's a great pass catcher? James White. Some guy they
yeah.
have
So it's
on.
like, what is the point?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
know.
it's so strange. People are saying that they needed a guard, and Cole Strange was the best guard available, so of course they reached. But it's like I don't know. Like there are tons of um there were a
I
lot of
mean,
guys.
they
There
needed.
were a lot of guys in this draft that have played multiple positions on the offensive line. There were like Jamari Slayer was one of them. He's played multiple positions a lot. I think he's played
The
every position on the offensive line at some point in his career.
the guy the Raiders took, Donald Parham.
Yeah.
I think he's a way better guard than Cole Strange in my opinion.
Mhm.
And he's played offensive tackle. I think he's played a little bit of center too. So the fact that they didn't take him, if they wanted to reach. I mean,
Tay's laptop crapped out on him, so we're just gonna we're gonna leave it off with Patriots. Look, y'all gotta
horrible
tell Bill.
draft, king of reaching.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say about them.
someone needs to stamp the bill and just be like, look, man, like we can definitely get him next round. Just wait around. You don't got to get him now. All right. I think these guys could be good, but it's like just pure value, pure just looking at the draft as a value system. They did not maximize their value. That that's my
Not at
gripe.
all.
Let's go to a loser for me. This is gonna be a little contentious. Some people have these guys as winners. I don't agree, and I'm going with. I promise this isn't biased. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The reason I'm saying the Pittsburgh Steelers is because when you look at their draft overall, they took two quarterbacks, two wide receivers, a tight end, and a D lineman. They did not address their offensive line. They did not address it at all. And this is a team that had one of the worst offensive lines. Now you could say, okay, they kind of helped in free agency a little bit, but I don't think they did enough. I don't think they did enough in free agency. And I really think that, I mean, even though Calvin Austin was fantastic value, first off, screw you for taking Calvin Austin. Even though he was fantastic value, you just picked George Pickens earlier. You have Chase Claypool. You have Deontay Johnson. You have James Washington. Who are you going to let go to keep these guys? Calvin Austin is more of a slot guy. Are you going to – is he even going to get minutes here, like consistent minutes?
and
Deontay
and
Johnson's going to be there. James Washington, like, I don't know. Go ahead.
in my opinion, I feel like if there's anybody out of that receiving core that can probably lose his job, it's probably James Washington, in my opinion.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that's where his role he could probably fill. But and then even at that, James Washington didn't really see the field much. So it's like the value of the pick is great, but is he going to actually be used? And is he really going to be able to use his skills in that offense?
Mhm.
That's the big problem.
Yeah, and even let's even say James Washington loses his role, right? They have George Pickens also there, who even though he has like off the field issues, even though people I've seen people on Instagram say he's a menace, he's still a really good player. Like he's still one of the best. He's one of the most talented wide receivers in this class. So it's like even if he just stays out of if he just does what he does, he's probably going to take James Washington's role. And some people are saying that they're going to replace Claypool with Pickens. I don't know. It depends on if you really think Claypool's not good for their culture, because Claypool was having locker room problems, wasn't he? Because of the TikToks and
Yeah,
stuff.
and honestly, I'm not that big fan of Chase Claypool. In
Mm,
my opinion, Chase Claypool runs one route, a go route, and that's it. All he does is go for a jump ball,
yeah.
and I mean that's really it. George Pickens is able to run every route in the route tree. He's
Mhm.
able to run these simple intermediate routes that Juju Smith was able to run, but he's also to be able to go down the field like Deontay Johnson and go up over top of DBs as well as Chase Claypool does. But he's able to get open downfield like Deontay Johnson. And he's able to go over top of DBs and make catches in the end zone just
Mhm.
like Chase Claypool. So I think he's a great pick, but like you said, what is he really going to be used as? Is he going to replace Claypool? Because if that's what you use him for, then it makes more sense. Because I kind of see Claypool fading out and not really getting there past his rookie contract, in my opinion. If he does not learn to excel with running more than just one route, I think he needs to learn the route tree, run the route tree fluently, become more of a weapon, with these short intermediate routes that they like to throw and they like to run, more so than just him running on the sideline and jumping up and going over top of the corners. I mean, yes, that's great, of course, but when it's the only thing you do, it's very expected and it's predictable.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just such a strange draft to like. They need secondary help, in my opinion. Like they definitely need somebody back there to help them out, but they also need O-line help. And it's like you drafted Kenny Pickett, great, like that's your quarterback of the future, or supposed to be, right? But then like, did you give up on him like 2 days later because you just drafted Chris Oladipo? Like, I think Tomlin said that he wanted 4 quarterback coming into camp, but it's like I don't know. Like, did you really?
Undrafted free agent, sign
Yeah,
him, do
I
something like that. I don't
I
know.
they have they have a group of just solid quarterbacks, but nobody is like a star. I guess Kenny Pickett has the most potential in that sense. But to get Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, Chris Oladipo now, and then Kenny Pickett, it's just it's a weird choice to just get a bunch of quarterbacks. Like quarterback is not
Yeah,
your main. Well, it's a problem, but it's like you need the line fixed first before you get a quarterback. I mean, or else you're gonna Kenny Pickett killed. Like you're gonna get
pretty
this kid.
much.
Um, and so yeah, I didn't like their draft overall. You know, other people did because George
And then
Pickens was a steal for where he was taken.
can we address what's up with them drafting brothers and then adding brothers to the teams? Like,
Yeah,
why are they so obsessed with adding relatives to the team? You put Derek Watt with TJ Watt. Now you put Connor Hayward with Casey Hayward, with not Casey Hayward. What is it? Cam Hayward.
yep.
What are you guys doing? Listen, Connor Haywood, he's not horrible. He's not the best, but you could have won O line in the 6th round. I mean, in my opinion, you probably could have picked up Connor Hayward as an undrafted free agent. I don't think anybody had him on their boards as a guy to take. If he wasn't gone by 208, he was going to be there as an undrafted free agent, in my opinion. Um, and then to waste your last pick on a quarterback and still not assess the offensive line, it's like, what is the point? Then
You know who they could have taken at instead of Calvin Austin at their pick. They could have taken Jamari Slater, or with their 6th round pick, they could have taken Kellen Dyche.
Kellen Dice,
Like,
oh,
how did
oh
he
my
go? First off,
gosh,
how did he go undrafted? And second off, why didn't the Steelers take a chance on him? Like,
oh my gosh, this guy. I mean, the thing was, he performed off the charts. He was amazing, and then he was amazing in college. He, I believe, he tested. From what I saw, he tested well. He did
mm,
everything well. There was no legitimate problems with Kellen Dice other than the fact that he was just very lean. He's not very big. He's just tall and lean, and the only thing he doesn't have a great first step. But like, you can train for a better first step. You can beef him up to be more bigger than lean. I mean, this is the NFL we're talking about. Guys beef up in the NFL. It is a known thing that most guys do. So the fact that you don't just take him based off his talent and just his production in college, I mean, it is crazy, and a shame on all NFL teams, even the Raiders. Listen, I did a mock draft, and I repeatedly had you guys taking them over and over and over again, and I'm like, please, for the love of God, pick this guy. But then everybody kept passing on him. Maybe there's something we don't know that everybody knows about. Maybe there's some medical that we don't know about that's possibly going on. But I didn't hear anything, and I don't know anything. So maybe I got to do some more digging, and maybe there is some medical concerns. But from what I heard, or what I know, there aren't any that I know of.
Yeah, and I haven't heard of any off the field issues from him either. So, yeah, it's. I would have said, wait to get an undrafted quarterback and add him to your room. But here's the thing: is that their quarterback room is so cramped. They had to take this quarterback because they're basically holding him hostage in camp.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying you can't sign with anybody else. You're with us now because we just drafted you. So now you have to go compete with 3 other guys, and you're definitely not going to be on the roster.
Not gonna have a shot. Yeah,
it kind of stinks. Like you're kind of not. I actually kind of like Oladipo. I think he has some. I think he does have some potential. I wouldn't say he's going to be a starter anywhere or anything, but it's like he could be a solid backup one day. And it's like you're kind of robbing him of that. You're doing bad by him. You're doing bad by yourself because you didn't take a tackle or a guard that you could have taken to help you guys out. It's just so strange that the Steelers decided to go quarterback, run wide receiver, tight end. It's like your offense was not the problem. Your offense was never the problem.
It's your O-line.
At least the skill positions weren't the problem. Your line was the problem. Your secondary was the problem. They didn't address any of that. And that's just ridiculous to me.
I mean, and then Josh Jobs on the board. Can we talk about how that guy went undrafted? I think that's crazy too. I mean, some people had this guy going second, third round, and he somehow went undrafted. I mean, there's a lot of guys that fell. I mean, I believe the Rams took a chance on this guy, Jacoby Durant. He was available for them multiple times. They didn't even think about taking him. And me personally, I know he's very small. He's not, the big frame corner that most guys like nowadays. But I'm like, this guy can mirror routes better than anybody in this draft class. Just as good as anybody in this draft. He's able to mirror routes and man coverage. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if anything, he would have helped their secondary so much because he just has that underdog mentality coming from a small school, FCS. He's one of the best corners in FCS. Played against, I believe he went to South Carolina State, and I think they beat Deion Sanders, Jackson State, in their championship game for that division. And he played phenomenal in that game. He did phenomenal at the Senior Bowl. I think he just absolutely locked up every receiver in one-on-ones. I mean, this guy is phenomenal, and you don't even think about taking a chance on him. Instead, you pick DeMarvin Leo and Connor Hayward and Chris Oladipo. When you just pick Kenny Pickett, it's just like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like in a vacuum, like I don't hate picks. Like really, like Kenny Pickett, okay, solid. George Pickens, okay, for the value. Who's good. DeMarvin Leo, okay, you're taking a chance on him for his potential. Calvin Austin, great value. Connor Hayward, which is kind of whatever. Like these aren't moves that I hate in a vacuum, but you got to take in the context of what they need badly and what they already have. They have a lot of the positions they drafted at. Mm-hmm. They are definitely set at wide receiver after they took George Pickens. Like you didn't really need to take Calvin Austin there. You didn't really need to take Oladipo. You're holding him hostage at this point. You didn't really need to take a lot of these guys that they took. Even Connor Hayward, I mean, they have Freiermuth on their roster, who is, in my opinion, I think he's going to be a really, really good
tight end. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, okay, like you bring in Connor Hayward to back him up, but was it really to back him up, or was it kind of a nepotism pick because his brother, like it's hard to know. What was it, because his brother's already on the roster and it's like, okay, now we got these guys who they'll be better in the locker room. They'll listen to us. Both of them will. Is it something like that? Or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Mike Tomlin has a lot to, if any coach can work with it, it's Mike Tomlin. He's he's one of the best coaches in the league, but it's like,
absolutely,
you're not doing yourself any favors going, taking these guys right here that you took.
Yeah. And in
Um,
my opinion, I believe the Calvin Austin pick was just out of spite because they didn't want him to come torch up the division and have Lamar Jackson have a crazy speed weapon as a replacement for Marquise Brown. I think it was kind of just like, listen, we probably don't need this guy, but if we're going to play chess and not checkers, we probably take this guy just to keep the Ravens from adding to their roster and adding more speed with Lamar Jackson at the receiver position. That's my opinion because I don't think they didn't need him at all. There's no need for him. I think it was just more so a chess move. Like, let's take him so we can't get hurt by him in our division.
yeah, that is kind of what it felt like. But man, it's another reason to hate Pittsburgh, bro. I mean, he would have been great on the Ravens. He would have
Yeah,
filled in
absolutely.
Hollywood's spot perfectly. He's even small like Hollywood is, so it's basically. I mean, they're very similar players. Looking outward. Obviously, Marquise Brown is better, but
The
I
only
think Calvin
bad
Austin.
problem is that Greg Roman is the issue, and he
Yeah,
probably wouldn't have used Calvin Austin the right way. Same thing with Marquise Brown. He wouldn't have been used the right way, and it would have just been like, oh my God, you're wasting this guy's years for once, please. I
mm-hmm.
mean, it seemed like every single time we got through the ball downfield to Marquise Brown, it was a touchdown or it was some type of positive gain. It
Yep.
was never like a thing where like, oh, Marquise Brown down the field, it's a drop. He can't get under it. It's like, I
Well, he
mean,
he did kind of have
he
a
did.
he did
He
have
had he had a, he had a he had a small issue, I believe, last season. Correct?
he's kind of had it most of his career where he just kind of had a problem sometimes
Tracking.
tracking, sometimes yeah. But sometimes some of that's also a little bit of Lamar being a little bit inaccurate. It's a bunch of little things. My biggest problem with Greg Roman is that the route. I don't know what kind of routes
The
he
route
runs.
combos, yeah.
Every single time that like you look down the field, two guys are running into each other. Like it's not drawn up well. He doesn't know how
Yeah,
to
no,
make
not
he
at
doesn't know
all.
how to make routes well. But we did get a new wide receiver coach. I'm confident in him, and I'm confident in Bateman. I think Bateman good.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens there. The Ravens lost a speed aspect to their offense, but at the same time, they got their running backs back. So hopefully Greg Roman's not around for too long. We can figure something else out there. But yeah, getting back on topic, Steelers are losers, in my opinion. Second loser for you.
I mean, let's
It was it.
let's let's just be honest. Seattle,
Mhm.
poverty franchise. Pete Carroll, horrible coach. I mean, what are you guys doing?
Hey, I don't think it was that bad. It wasn't great. I don't think it was that bad. But go ahead, continue.
I mean, listen,
I do agree. I don't like Pete Carroll, but
the
continue.
biggest the biggest need on this team
Yeah.
is quarterback. Second round, you don't think about taking Malik Willis. What do? You take the 1 millionth running back on your roster. I mean, the 30th, I don't even know what is he, the 50th running back on this roster. You have Penny, DJ Dallas, Chris Carson. It's just what is the point? What
Alex
is the
Collins.
point? Alex Collins. What is the point with the Kenneth Walker pick? I'm not mad at the Charles Cross pick. You guys addressed the O-line for sure. But that's one of the only times you addressed the offensive line. If you wanted to address offensive line so bad, why take two receivers? Why take a running back? Why take two defensive ends? It's like, what if you guys want to address the offensive line? Draft 3 linemen, draft 4 linemen. I would have been fine with it because like that is the biggest need. And if anything, please draft a quarterback. Drew Lock is not the answer. Jimmy G is not the answer. Baker Mayfield is not the answer. Find a young guy you can build foundation with, and you can build with the team and build relationships and be there long term, not for just 4 years and he's gone. You don't need a guy like that. You need a guy you can start with who can be there as your franchise quarterback, and they just didn't do that. I'm not mad at the value pick with Tariq Woolen. I think that is a great value pick in the 5th round. I think Kobe Bryant is a great value pick in the 4th round. But after that, I mean, what is the point of taking two receivers? Bo Melton is not horrible, but you don't need it. Derek Young, you didn't need it. Abraham Lucas, I'm not mad at it because you need a lineman, but I mean, quarterbacks are there. Matt Corral, Desmond Ritter, something. Take a quarterback, please, for the love of God. Give DK Metcalf somebody he can catch the ball from. not Drew Lock, who's going to just throw the ball into the ground every single time he throws the ball. It doesn't make any sense. It's so crazy to me that the biggest need, obvious, every single time you watch a commentator, when their pick is coming up, it's like, oh, this is obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if they take Malik Willis right here.
Yeah, 3 times.
Oh, nope. They take Kenneth Walker. Oh, they take Boye Mafe. Oh, they take Abraham Lucas. I'm like, oh my gosh. Everybody's telling you what you need. It is right in your face. I mean, it's like if you could just pull up ESPN, pull up NFL Network, and just listen to these guys for 5 minutes, they will give you the answer that you need. So it's like, oh, they're like, oh no, we're so stuck on our ways. Pete Carroll's like, no, I know what I want. I know what I'm doing. I want to run the ball 30 times a game. We're going to hand the ball off to every running back 30 times a game. Everybody's going to play. It's just like, enough is enough. Get this guy out of there. Yeah. Find a new coach. Get a new system. Everything. I don't want. I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I can't.
Yeah, do it. I don't like Pete Carroll and what he's trying to do. I think, weirdly enough, they had a stretch where they were trying to let Russ cook. They were trying to throw the ball more, but the routes weren't the greatest, like that they were drawing up. It just didn't look pretty. And then obviously now Russ is gone, so I feel Pete Carroll's like, all right, let's just go back to running the ball now. And so they took Kenneth Walker there. I mean, yeah, I don't hate the pick, but it's like, you're right. Like, shouldn't they have taken a chance on our quarterback? My guess is that they probably like a quarterback in the next draft better. But at the same time, are they confident they're going to be bad enough to get one? Because it's like, if they're going after Bryce Young, they're going to have to be pretty bad to get him.
You're going to need probably within a top 3 pick. You're going to have to be 2 to 3 wins. You're going to need one of those. And just knowing the Seahawks and just knowing their division, they're going to win 5-6 games easily because they're going to probably win a game or 2 in the division. They'll sneak out a win out of division, and then they'll probably sneak like an out of conference win as well. So,
Yeah, it's like, I don't think this team is going to be bad enough to get a top 3 pick. So who are you taking right now to help you out? And do you think that the quarterbacks next year are significantly better than these ones? I don't know. I would have taken a chance on Malik Willis because you could turn him into a Russell Wilson
prototype, literally.
Right? He's a lot of his talents or a lot of his abilities, natural abilities, are similar to that of Russell Wilson, right? Obviously, he needs to work on a lot of things, accuracy,
yes, 1,000%,
like stuff like that. But like, he has an arm, he's mobile, like he's athletic, he's long, he has good instincts for the most part. I don't know. I would have taken him there at I mean, how low did Malik Willis go into? Like 90 something, right? To the Titans.
396 to the Titans, which is crazy.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. They should have taken him somewhere in that second or third round, where they had 2 picks in the second. I like the Boye Mafe pick actually, but at the same time, their secondary needed more help, but they did address that later, so I don't mind that. Overall, I mean, I don't hate this draft, but yeah, it's hard to pick him as like one of the better drafts. Charles Cross was a great pick, but I mean, you guys are picking linemen way too late. You had Russell Wilson for how many years? You did not pick a single lineman. You're picking him way too late now.
It's like, oh, we don't have a quarterback. Let's address the O-line now. Let's just worry about it. I'm just like, come on, what is the point?
All right, yeah, but we'll see what they do next year. This is definitely a wait and see type moment. We really got to see what they do next year to fully judge these picks. Let's move on to my second winner or my second loser. I had a really tough time picking. I still don't really know. I'm going to give you both the teams that I've been picking between. But I think let's start with the Steelers. Or sorry, not the Steelers. I just talked about. Start with the Saints. Trading up for Chris Olave, I think, was fine. I don't hate it, but it's like I'm just a bigger fan of Jameson Williams there. The Saints kind of kickstarted their run on wide receivers, which, I mean, I guess thank you. You got us Kyle Hamilton, but it's like, I don't know. Like, could they have done something better there? I don't know. But they took
I'm not sure.
I think it was a solid enough pick. Trevor Penning, I was not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that picture. Penning is a project. The reason he's going this high is because he's tall and he's bulky
Yep.
and he has a mean streak, right? Which I guess is important for linemen. You want to be
Absolutely. You want to be competitive and have not whatnot, yes.
but at the same time, like when you look at his tape and like you look at his film, he's losing position a lot of times. He's getting blown by. He's getting pushed back very easily. There's one viral clip of him getting pushed back so hard that he just turns around, just throws the guy to the ground into his own quarterback. like this guy is not ready to start anytime soon at all.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if the Saints expect him to start. I really don't know because they lost their starting left tackle to the Dolphins, I believe. So it's like, well, actually, they did pick up James Hurst. So I guess they're not expecting him to start left tackle, which is if he starts left tackle, I'm sorry, his career's over before it even started. He's gonna get cooked, absolutely cooked at left tackle. Right tackle is his only hope right now, and I still don't think he should start there right now. I don't think he's a starter right now. Honestly, I don't even know if I would have given a first on Penning, like in general.
I mean, what? You could have waited till the second round, possibly third.
The problem is though, like a lot of teams were randomly really high on him, so I don't know if they could have gotten him there. But it's like, did you need to be the team that took Penning? Like, yeah, I don't know. There was definitely like, I just don't.
I mean, even this is the thing, right? Even if they didn't take Trevor Penning, there were so many good offensive tackles that were just available deep in this draft that they could have went and took them then. So they could have addressed something else, like they could have went and got another corner in the first round that was available. Linebacker is a big issue for them.
They could have taken Karlaftis, gotten even more pressure on the edge.
Karlaftis, yeah, absolutely. Put him with what's his name? Cam Jordan would have been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They could have I mean, I know they addressed defensive back, but they could have taken another great defensive back in the first round. I think, in my opinion,
never have too many. You can never have too many back.
Absolutely not. They could have got safeties because they just lost Marcus Williams. I know they signed Tyrann Mathieu today, which is a great signing in my opinion, but he plays strong safety. He doesn't play free safety. So I mean, you want to address the free safety position with Marcus Williams. You could have drafted one there in the first round as well.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah, this class was so deep at tackle. Like it's weird to take Penning, who's a serious
project player,
a real project, and the Saints are trying to win now. I don't know if that really, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. I didn't mind the Alontae Taylor. I was confused at first why they took him over Andrew Booth, but then we kind of looked it over together and we are like, okay, he's longer, he's faster, he's taller, or he's about the same height, but he has a bigger wingspan.
Yeah,
it makes sense why they prefer him there. They think that he could just be better because he has more physical tools. DeMarco Jackson at 161, I don't hate that pick. And then Jordan Jackson at 194. I mean, it's solid. I mean, it's not like those aren't bad picks, but day 3 was your best day and you only had 2 picks. And
yeah,
that's not really the greatest compliment you can give somebody, right?
Absolutely.
And then the other team I want to bring up is the Washington Commanders, another team who just reached all draft for the most part. Like the Saints, their best day was day 3. And I think was kind of salvaged by, I'd say, Chris Paul and Sam Howell, because Chris Paul fell kind of considerably. I thought he would go a little, definitely, I thought he would go higher than 230. But Sam Howell for sure was the biggest. I mean, that was a great selection for them.
Yes, absolutely.
So I I got to kind of put him as an honorable mention. I can't really put him as a loser. I think Jahan Dotson, even though he was a huge reach, and to the point where Jahan Dotson himself said he was literally watching an NBA game. He was watching an NBA game, the Suns Pelicans game, I think, while the draft was going on when he got called. He wasn't even expecting to go that high. I feel like if your own guy admits that he got reached on, that's definitely a reach, man. But at the same time, I guess they needed wide receiver. They got their guy, but also you got to look at the trade that they made. The trade they made, that there's rumors that they thought that Hamilton or Jameson Williams would fall to them at 16, you could have picked him right there where you were at 11. You did not need to move backwards.
It's
They
like, what
did
was the
get a
point?
third. They got a third and a fourth round pick, but they spent their third pick on a running back. It's like, come on, man. I think he's from the DMV, so it's a nice story. And
Yeah, it's like
you have Gibson, you have McKissick, you have Patterson. Like, you do not need running
need
back
another
right
running back. Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
So this team gave up the third most yards per game to opposing quarterbacks, and opposing quarterbacks had like the second or third highest QBR against them. You need help in that secondary. You do not need running backs to. You do not need. You got guys at running back. J.D. McKissick alone. I mean, even when Gibson was injured, J.D. McKissick
He did
alone,
enough.
he did amazing. He did incredible for them. You did not need Brian Robinson, 98 overall, when you have so many other positions, especially on the
And
defense,
then
that you need to
this is
address.
this is this is my thing as well. You want to take a running back in the third round? Zamir White was there. Why not take him? 4.4 speed, power runner. I mean, if you want to add a beefy power runner to the offense, because you don't have that necessarily, add Zamir White. He's big. He runs downhill. He has the speed. He's able to catch out of the backfield. I mean, if you wanted to add somebody else in the running back room,
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have been a better option than Brian Robinson Jr., in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Percy Butler, I think, was a solid pick overall. But it's like, when you look at these two guys, like, are Brian Robinson and Percy Butler worth potentially Kyle Hamilton or Jameson Williams?
No,
I don't think so.
not
Like,
at all. Nowhere close.
yeah, like you really could have stayed pat, taken Jameson Williams. Everyone would have been like, amazing draft. Like, you just took Jameson Williams, and for what it's worth, I don't think Carson Wentz is that bad of a quarterback. I think he can definitely still get a lot of production out of the
Yeah,
weapons he
absolutely.
has right now. And I think Jahan Dotson's a solid weapon, but it's like his route running is kind of suspect. A lot of people are, doubting his routes. Specifically, he has good speed, but it's like you kind of have a speedy guy. You have Diami
Yeah.
Brown already. In terms of like a big receiver that you could get, I mean, I guess they have Cam Sims. Terry McLaurin's obviously their best wide receiver, but you could have had Jameson Williams to pair with Terry McLaurin, and that would have been so dangerous for opposing teams.
Now, okay, I will say I understand the pick of why they take Jahan Dotson because his catch percentage is ridiculous. I think he's
Yeah.
like his catch to drop radius is I think is like one of the best in the draft class.
Yeah,
It's
he does
just
not drop back.
absolutely insane. He doesn't drop anything. He catches about any pass that's thrown up in the ball in the air to him. So I'm not too upset. I understand, and when you look at that and you're like, okay, well, listen, if Carson Wentz can just give him the ball somewhere on the field and he can go get it, why
Mm.
not take a guy who can do that as well as Terry McLaurin was capable to do that as well? I'm not mad at the pairing, but like you said, you could have stayed at 11. You could have taken Jameson Williams. You could have taken Kyle Hamilton. You just could have taken so many other guys that would have been amazing at the spot.
One more guy that they seriously reached on, Fedarian Mathis.
Yeah, what's up with this guy? What's up with the
Travis
Alabama,
Jones.
the DMV, the Alabama, the DMV train
I have no idea,
pipeline?
but Travis Jones was right there. Like, sometimes you just gotta take the better player. Like, I know he's from the better school, but it's like Travis Jones is a beast.
Listen,
Did you watch his combine, like his drill?
let's address the elephant in the room. These NFL GMs and owners are in love with these systematic
Yeah.
defenses in college. They're like, oh, he's in a great system. He produced some. He did enough to produce. Let's just take him because he went to a good system. He has a good foundation. But then they come to the NFL and they don't produce, and they're like, we reached again. Well, yeah, you kind of didn't really take the guy who did much. He was just part of another great defense, and he just was a product of the environment. That's all it was. I'm not saying that he can't do the same in Washington because they have another great defensive line, of course. But at that, they don't even value the defensive line because they're talking about getting rid of De'Aaron Payne. They were considering trading Chase Young for Aaron Rodgers. It's like, what is even going on in this franchise? I mean, it's just this franchise is so all over the place.
Yeah.
And then this draft, let alone, shows you that they're kind of all over the place still. So, there's not really much growth with this new rebuild or refranchise, rebrand.
Yeah, I think they want to make their identity on offense now. I think they've made that clear by just what they've done. But at the same time, like, I don't know if you can can they go pound for pound against the Cowboys?
Nope.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Can they go pound for pound against even the Eagles? I don't know
After
about
this
that.
draft, especially the trade in the first round, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Can they go pound to pound with the Giants? Maybe.
I think that's the only team in the division they're going to go pound for pound with. But
Yeah.
even then, I mean, you give Daniel Jones a great QB coach. You give him a great offensive coordinator now. He has the pieces to build into a franchise quarterback. And then at that, Kadarius Toney finally showed up, who can be amazing for them if he just stays on within the team and is not distracted off the field. Like you said, they took Kayvon Thibodeau. Like you said, their new defensive coordinator isn't the best with building great talents like Kayvon Thibodeau with that defense that he likes to run. But I mean, even if they're able to get him to be anything close to where he was in Oregon, they somewhat still have an edge over Washington alone because their secondary is actually pretty good. They have Darnay Holmes, who's actually surprisingly been really good for them. James Bradbury's still there. I know he might be looking like he's on his way out, but not 100% sure yet. You have Xavier McKinney. There's so many guys there. Or Dory Jackson, I think so, right?
Yep.
Yes. I mean, they have so many guys in that secondary alone that's going to give multiple teams in that division problems, especially Washington. So I think still Washington's the bottom of the barrel of this division.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Washington doesn't have any pieces on defense, but like they are stretched for depth. They're like, if a guy goes down, I don't trust the guy. I don't trust anyone.
I don't trust the guy behind him.
Yeah, I don't trust the guy behind him. If somebody goes down on that defense, which is gonna happen at some point, somebody's gonna get injured. It just happens. Yep. Football, one of the most dangerous sports alive.
Absolutely,
someone's gonna get hurt. Can you have someone step up? Can you have someone take on that load? Even the Ravens, even though their defense was atrocious towards the end of the year, at the same time, like in a vacuum, they had guys step up and be decent in those slots.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
And if they didn't, if that was like the only injury, like if they only had a couple corners injured or they only had a safety injured, they would have been fine because they have the depth, right? Yeah. They've been building that depth. The only reason they look bad was because everybody got injured. So everybody, it was literally third and fourth string corners and defensive back. They reached into fifth and sixth string at the end of the year. It was ridiculous. Yeah. But even they were still okay. Like I don't have that same level of faith in the Washington defense. Not even the slightest.
Not at all.
Obviously, that's why the Ravens are contenders and Washington isn't viewed as one. But if you want to be a contender, like if this is Ron Rivera's vision of winning now, I don't know. I think you might need to draft for the future a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
As it goes. But yeah, and then I think one last team, just that, I wasn't too impressed with their draft. I'd say it's probably the Cowboys, purely because they didn't address their defense much.
Yeah.
It's like they definitely could have done more. Yeah, I mean, they took a tight end 129 overall. They took a wide receiver 88 overall. I don't know. If you believe in these guys, sure, like they could be good one day, but it's like I think the best pick was Damone Clark 176.
Yeah.
He has
great value pick.
He has a spinal issue, but at the same time, if he can heal up and get healthy, if he was healthy from the start in this draft, he'd be like a top 50, 60 guy for sure. So I think it's great value that they got there. Tyler Smith was the biggest meh pick of all time. Everyone was just like, okay, it's an all right pick. Yeah. Sam Williams on the edge, not bad. I just feel like they could have used more help defensively. Deron Bland will help a little bit. But a lot of the guys they took defensively were very late. And then also the Bears. I don't know why they didn't take a tackle until the fifth round is when they decided to take a tackle. But I like Jaquan Brisker for them. I guess they did need safety help.
I definitely like that pick for sure.
They definitely needed a second cornerback. So I get the Kyler Gordon thing, but at the same time, kind of a reach when Booth was there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think this is the thing, right? With Kyler Gordon and Booth, it's like they're not very much the same, but it's like, which one fits your system better?
Yeah,
I
that's true.
don't think that Booth would have been more off than Kyler Gordon, but I think he was just a better fit for the system. That's probably what it was.
Yeah, that's true. But even still, like, I swear, like, on most mock drafts, I thought Kyler Gordon was going in the third,
Yeah.
and they took him high second. I don't hate it, but at the same time, I feel like they could have done better, a little bit better there. And just kind of overall, like, they're looking at the rest of their draft. They went Dominique Robinson. Actually, that's probably one of the best places for him to go. Was probably the Bears. They could probably coach him up there. Zach Thomas, I thought was an all right pick. Doug Kramer, I thought was a good pick. They went crazy. They just decided to just go draft a bunch of O linemen after that, but at the same time, you're drafting them so low. It's like, and Velas. Do you know anything about Velas Jones? Honestly, he wasn't even on my radar like that.
Okay. He's another
The wide
speed guy.
receiver.
He was another one of these speed demons in this amazing. One thing I want to address is that this is probably one of the fastest draft classes that I've ever seen. These 40 times at these skill positions were off the charts, especially at receiver and DB. But he's just another one of those guys. He ran a crazy fast 40 like Calvin Austin. And I think he's just a little bit bigger. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's a little bit taller. That 6 foot.
He's
I
6
think
foot.
I think Calvin Austin's what, 5'10, 5'11, I think so.
Actually, I think Calvin Austin's like 5'9", 5'8".
9. Oh, well, yeah. So he's just a bigger, and he's probably the speed is about there. But I mean, I don't really know much about his his traits, I would say, as a receiver. I don't really know much because he wasn't really on my radar either. I think he was just a speed guy. I just remember hearing his name because he ran one of the fastest 40s at the receiver position, but that was it.
But like, here's the thing, right? Is that they have one of the best speed
Mooney.
demons. Yeah, they have one of the best speed demons already. So are you gonna? I guess, are they really focusing on speed going down the hill? If that's your focus, you need better linemen so they can hold people back so they can actually get down the field, right?
Hey, I mean, I know they addressed it late, but you never know. We've seen a lot of late drafted linemen turn to these amazing. I'm not saying they're going to be top notch offensive linemen, but maybe they'll be enough. But I think there was definitely better options early on that they could have taken instead of drafting these skill positions. Most definitely.
I'm gonna say it again. Kellen Dyche could have been great here. I mean,
Oh my God, perfect,
yeah, I don't know why every
perfect.
team asked him, man. I was
Listen,
just,
all 32 teams, shame on you for not drafting him. Shame on you. My team, and including the Ravens as well.
yeah, especially in the seventh. In the seventh round, you're telling me in the seventh round you can't just take a flyer on him? Like, something wrong with him that we just don't know about? Because there's no way he should fall that far.
Yeah, here, let me.
I can't believe that.
Now I want to look into it. Now I want to see Kellen Dice. I want to see what is the medicals on this guy, because there has to be something that is just a big red flag as to why he didn't get drafted. Okay. The main question on everywhere is what happened to Kellen Dice.
Yeah, I'm looking at an article right now, and they're saying it's a legit surprise. The article
Yeah,
gives
I don't see any medicals. I don't.
he's the highest graded Pac-12 tackle since 2020. He had an 88.8 rating by PFF. Yeah,
I mean, I don't.
It's just so weird. I have no idea why.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is that he went to Arizona State, and they're just not known for having great linemen.
Yeah,
But at that, he was one of the best Pac-12 linemen in college football. How does this guy go undrafted?
Yeah, it's like, come on, like, even in like the very final pick, like, who was it? They picked Brock Purdy, right? What team? What team was that? Some team picked Brock Purdy.
What's it? Hold on, I'll
The
tell you.
final pick in the draft. You're telling me
You couldn't make Kellen Dice Mr. Irrelevant? He would have been the perfect Mr. Irrelevant.
Yes,
perfect.
He would have been great. Because he would have actually been relevant eventually.
Eventually, yeah, he would have eventually been relevant.
Brock Purdy, I doubt he's really going to do anything of serious value.
Oh, the 49ers.
It was the Niners.
Such a Niners pick. I'm not even surprised.
Yeah, that's that's definitely a Niners pick.
Okay, I'm looking at this. Kellen Dice, 6'7", 300 pounds, 6'6" wingspan, 4'8", 940, which is great at 300 pounds and 6'7". That is amazing.
So
Uh,
what makes Penning go first round and this guy go undrafted, right? When you just look at the measurables, just look at the talent. It's like, I don't know.
I mean, it's good foot quickness, body control, recovery balance to stay attached to blocks. It said smoother on pulls and leads and space to track. I mean, everything you want in an offensive tackle. Above
Even
average hand placement.
even if it's because like he went to a smaller school, like you're telling me you don't see any potential in him in the seventh that you could coach up like at all. You just let him go undrafted. I guess the only thing else I could think of is maybe his agent just said, if you're gonna take us in the seventh or sixth, just don't take us.
Yeah.
We'll just pick our team or something. That's the only other option I can really see. But even then, how does he fall to the fifth or this like something like that? Like most people have this guy around the third round, third or fourth. Um, so I don't know how he falls so far that he's just not even drafted unless his agent said something or some random, I don't know, maybe he was maybe people just don't like his off the field friends or something like that. I don't know. It's really weird.
Okay, so the only problem that I've seen is that they said he has a horrible arm length. That is the only thing.
So is
He
Tyler
just
Linderbaum.
has
Like
he's 6'7" with a 6'6" wingspan, and it really caused a lot of problems with a lot of GMs. They didn't like that. But I'm like, come on. This guy is an absolute beast. He is a beast, and he goes undrafted.
if
And
you're
at
worried about
that,
wingspan that badly, put him at the right tackle, but you don't got to put him at left. Like he doesn't need to
yeah.
play left,
I
right?
mean, he could. I think he would have been fine at right tackle. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever played any right tackle in college, but I mean, I don't think he would have had any problem making that adjustment at all.
Yeah. But the Dolphins got an absolute steal with that pick right there. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's all really we got to say. So we picked each of our losers. We gave some honorable mentions just to throw out guys there, some picks we didn't like. But yeah, overall, thank you guys for watching. This has been Speechless Sports. I've been Bert.
Tate,
We'll catch you guys next time.
see you.
Goodbye.